Ringo, the 1978 TV film, is pretty interesting. And I have to say, the only reason this came on my radar is because Carrie Fisher is in it. And I love Carrie Fisher. Um, so I want to watch everything that she's done. This is something that she did, and thought, let's give it a go. I don't know if this will appeal to me, but the premise sounds interesting. The reason I didn't know if it would appeal to me is basically because it's about the Beatles. And while I like the Beatles, I really like the Beatles, of course I do, I'm not that knowledgeable about them. I haven't seen that many documentaries about them. I don't know that much about them other than what their songs are. So it was going to be certainly a bit of an education for me. Um, so the aspect of it being about Ringo Starr didn't bother me, but it didn't make me not want to watch it either. I was kind of just happy to go along with it. And whether or not this is an accurate portrayal of Ringo Starr's personality or if it's a very heightened version for the TV show, I don't know. So if you do know, feel free to let me know and improve my knowledge of that aspect of this. But ultimately, I think it could apply to basically anybody who lives life in the spotlight. It could have been about anybody. But obviously because it's about Ringo and the Beatles, there are the Beatles songs in it. Um, which makes it a little bit more interesting, and certainly that aspect of it I did enjoy. So basically, it's directed by Jeff Margolis, written by Neil Israel and Pat Prophet, and Ringo Starr is fed up of just constantly being hounded for attention, and he happens upon this individual who looks identical to him. Um, so identical, in fact, same person. And he manages to persuade this person to temporarily swap places with him. So this individual who's called Ognir, which is Ringo backwards, um, suddenly decides to step in the place of Ringo and has to do these ridiculous things he never thought he would do. And Ringo starts to live this very temporary, it's all set over the same day, this ordinary life. He meets Ringo's or Onyr's girlfriend, played by Carrie Fisher, which is pretty exciting. Um, but then he meets his father, and his father is quite strict, and he realizes that maybe this ordinary life is not as stress free as he perhaps thought it would have been, and life being hounded by the media is stressful, but maybe just stressful in a different way. Again, you could put anybody in that position, anybody who is hounded by the media constantly and who has to have, their attention taken up by their career constantly. You could do that, and I'd actually quite like to see that. I have a long list of celebrities I'd like to see this remade with, but with a twist on their career. Um, so it's very interesting. It's interesting to see the two characters, the contrasts and the similarities, and the way in which the two personalities um, kind of adapt to different situations. I feel like the Ringo lookalike is quite reserved and quite shy, whereas Ringo is obviously playing an exaggerated version of himself, presumably exaggerated version of himself, um, where he's got a little bit more confidence, and that confidence doesn't necessarily carry across well in the fake Ringo's reality. So it's really interesting to watch from that respect. The casting, I mean, Vincent Price is in it. I love Vincent Price. John Ritter is in it. Obviously, the Beatles. For me, obviously, the pull factor was Carrie Fisher. I love her, and she's brilliant in it. Ringo was great to watch, and I feel like I know Ringo Starr just that little bit better now. The narrative, it's very brief. It happens very quickly. I think it's about an hour. I think it was an hour-long special. And not too much happens, but it is very fascinating to watch as it goes back and forth between the characters. Very easy to keep on top of which character, Ringo or fake Ringo, you're looking at. That's very easy and very well done. When we get when it cuts to songs of the Beatles, it's sometimes a little bit fantastical, some very creative editing going on there, some very beautiful, fun 70s CGI happening as well. I enjoyed it. I'm sure that there are Beatles fans who would enjoy it so much more than I did. Maybe there are Beatles fans who didn't like it. If you fall into either of those categories, I'd be really keen to know what your opinion is, because I'm sure your opinion would differ quite a lot from mine. I wouldn't have even known this existed were it not for Carrie Fisher, so I'm glad I've seen it. I love Carrie in it. She's definitely, for me, my favourite thing about it. But I found it very eye-opening, and it's kind of encouraged me to want to see more Beatles films. So if you have any you can recommend, bearing in mind I've seen none except this, I'm open to suggestions. I have seen Yesterday, the film from 2018? 19? I'm not sure. Sarah Lancashire's in it. Either way, if you're a Beatles fan, check out Ringo. I think it's probably something that you will enjoy. It's quite creative, easy to follow, not overly complicated. It doesn't try to be anything that it isn't. I feel like it's very sincere in what it's doing. And I had quite a lot of fun with it.